I want to reflect with you on business model patterns that were brought to us through technology. I want to give you some real-life examples, very small ones, very tangible ones, to both show you the potential, but also to showcase to you that we see customers really working with them or engaging with them. Some of those very known patterns that were brought to us by digital technology, first of all, there is multi-sided platforms. We have very famous examples of them, like Uber, to my opinion, is a very nice example. It has a compelling offer to the driver, and it has a compelling offer to the rider that makes it multi-sided. It has a whole set of value propositions to people that want to drive, literally to everybody. When you use Uber, it really can be anybody being a driver. They have statistics for those people that they see when it's better to drive or not, in which neighborhood. They add services to be just being a driver, that you're also able to lease or rent a car. And of course, towards the riders, they have a whole set of what we call convenience. But also Airbnb, eBay for sure, bringing buyers and sellers together, are a nice example of multi-sided platforms. Also Google is one, because they have a value proposition to everybody that wants to search the net. Obviously, we all use it, but they also have other value propositions, amongst them, one of their most important ones being the value proposition to advertisers. Bringing us to the free business model, which I typically, as I understand it, I would call it the Google business model, because Google is really a very famous example. They do a lot of things for free, meaning we can search the net for free, but they use all the data, all the information to earn, or to have a business model to charge for that information or to charge for services against to advertisers or others from the other side, which is what we call the Google business model. You do certain things for free and you earn your money in other ways. By the way, when it comes to earning money and costs, that Thierry will be talking about it. And I only will introduce the patterns and Thierry will explain how we can make some money out of it. There are two patterns. One that I would call product as a service. Be it the customer of Steven that is really innovative, adding services to his equipments to do a kind of Google business model and go and sell the information, which is really innovation. I believe quite some machinery manufacturers and also customers amongst our portfolio just simply transform the whole product into a service. And again, Thierry will touch upon it and how can it work financially. But we also see a lot of our customers, and you know, we do serve a lot of product manufacturers. It's where we once started with Delaware. We also see them getting into, be it modest, but into services. Product guidance, dealing with feedback of customers, direct delivery if needed, to give a few examples. We'll come back on that. And then, of course, there's a long tail. The long tail is about bringing a mass of niche offers to niche demands. And I also see some of our customers engaging with it, or one of those platforms that really embrace the long tail. I also believe there's quite some potential when you want to bring a new product to market today, just in our every life. What I'm going to do next is give you some real-life examples, both from the angle of the customer and from the angle of the supplier. And from there, I want to explore with you. I hope I give you some insights in the potential, but also will touch upon where we see customers engaging on one of those patterns. I'm going to start with the long tail, and I'm going to explain the long tail using a simple example and anecdote. Within myself and my wife, with our friends, we tend to celebrate New Year's Eve all together with about 16 people. And to make it more fancy, each year we introduce a costume team. And of course, there's a big prize around New Year for the one with the most original, creative, fancy, you can call it silly, costume. A few years ago, the theme was pink. That's it, pink. Pink was the theme of the costume prize for New Year's Eve. Now, if you want to go for a costume and you go to an outlet, a classical outlet, a local store, you end up with a view like this. No arms, no criticism to the local store, but the big issue you have when the theme is pink for New Year's Eve is the assortment. And why is it? Because this local store, he only can reach locally. So he must do the math and the statistics, and he only will have in his assortment products that are evergreens or probably are very famous characters so that he's sure that he can sell it because of his limited horizon, his limited scope of people or potential customers he can reach. But you bear with me that when you want to be the most creative, fancy, silly, whatever costume in a pink way on New Year's Eve, you're not going to go that far in this store. Now let's go to the net. One big part of the long-tail pattern is the fact that we can search literally anything on the net thanks to search engines like Google and other ones. That's a very big component of that pattern, and we use it all the time. And when you're a bit smart, it's really unbelievable what you can find on the net. And you need to play around a bit. We call it long-tail keywords, by the way. So you just do not type in one word, because if you would type in party, you won't be really directing that big search engine to what you want. So there is a creative moment here when you type party costume, pink tuxedo. Because I felt like a pink tuxedo probably is something, isn't it? And boom, all of a sudden, this very niche demand, this very creative niche demand, like I want to have a pink tuxedo for a party, boof, and this is what you get. Immediately you get a lot of pink tuxedos, by the way. Now from the niche offering perspective, suppose you have something really specific and you want to bring it to the niche demand. This is the beauty of those search engines, because the guys there, the tuxedo morph suit pink glow, it glows in the dark, by the way. They did their keywords very well, because it's the pink, it's tuxedo, and suit, because suit is like costume, and you see it. That really brought that web page to my demand, to my long-tail keywords. So you need to direct a bit, but then really anything can happen. And so one of the key activities when you start to play in the long-tail pattern, in the long-tail business model pattern, is content. Product content, but also relevant content. You imagine yourself, if I am this niche offer, what kind of keywords is the niche demand that can do something with my niche offer? What is he or she going to key in? And it's a beautiful example, because I directed a bit by saying party costume, pink tuxedo, and boom. I didn't have a clue what a morph suit was. Let it be that it would glow in the dark. It does glow in the dark. You end up here, which is the next step in the long tail, is the logistical platform. Because when you go long tail and your scope all of a sudden is the world, but literally anybody in the world, you need a different logistical system than the one we had in classical retail in a local store. So you end up somewhere on Amazon, and it says you that if you would buy it, it will be delivered by Monday, the 6th of June. And of course, now everybody asks himself, like, you purchased this item on 12th December of 2012. I told you, these are real-life examples. So this is the picture of New Year's Eve 2012-13, and it's me in the morph suit, glowing. And yes, I won the prize that year. This is what we call the business model canvas from Alexander Osterwalder, and it's typically used, or it's a good canvas to express those new business model patterns. The left-hand side, by the way, are more the internal activities. It's what they call the brain. It's logic. The right-hand side is about engaging with customers, about channels, about value proposition. It's the more emotional part. At the bottom, you have costs and money, and that is what Thierry is going to talk about in a minute. Like I explained to you, the channel being that massive search engine platform is key in the long tail. Key activities, new logistics, and embracing a new way of logistics that you can deal with small parcels becomes a new key activity. But also, a key activity becomes product content and how you deal with it. And new key partners are all those people talking about your products, because they really feed into the whole loop of searching and finding niche offerings and match them with niche demands. There's one customer I worked with through workshops when they were defining their strategy that engaged. You also have platforms, like you could call Amazon a platform, bringing the tail to everybody of us, because their scope is really the tail, from the head to the tail. At least one customer I know really engaged in North America with one of those platform initiatives. They are learning to define their product assortment themselves. They're a typical manufacturer. Even they came out of, I think, even private label manufacturing. Now they're defining their own assortment, value proposition. They are building up their own logistics to be able to deliver small parcels. They deliver themselves and they service themselves. They service their customers themselves. The platform brings the channels, and brings the ability to sell, and the money flows. Excuse me. Especially also, I believe when I talk to customers and we want to launch a new product, I see a lot of elegance in going into the tail, doing a tail pattern business model when you want to launch a new product. Because immediately your scope is the world, and when you start a new product, probably it will start like a niche because nobody knows it yet. You could say, Peter, this is B2C, and it's fine enough, but we're all B2B. My next real-life example, it's a true existing company. This is a picture of Longtail. It's pretty much in the middle of nowhere, and when you're standing there, you can look into France. Actually, you see Honschoten. It's a part of West Flanders. It's a very local village. Actually, it's also the home of a B2B long-tail player. They are growing 25% year over year, and the whole thing they do is they go into the tail. They go into the tail for engineers. They're extremely specialized in what we call fasteners. And not just any fastener. You could say, oh my goodness, this is a niche. Yes, it is a niche. Fasteners for tanks, for airplanes, for very complex machinery with very complex requirements. And from the one hand, and there you see product as a service coming for the first time, is at front, they sell a lot of product knowledge, and they know exactly which fastener goes in which tank, and what are the constraints, and what are the tensions, and the mechanics, and the forces on it. And that is how they get to their customer engineer. They made their core what is non-core in their industry. Like the other manufacturers are not interested, are not interested to deliver 10 fasteners into Airbus over there. That's exactly what they did. Again, you see the logistics coming back. They go for very fine-grained logistics, and they make it a valuable position, they make it an advantage. They invest a lot of energy goes into that they can be found on the net, that they are relevant when you search for fasteners. What is amazing is they really have a position globally now as a very important website when you need fasteners in complex environments. And as we speak, they're even investing into their own products, like they go down the value chain once they got into a position. There are 7 people now, and out of Longtail, they serve into Asia, they serve into Africa, they serve globally with a product which is fasteners, a B2B long-tail example. The next example has to do with distribution and has to do with product as a service again and again. It's a real-life example, and this is again an example close to me. I'm a child of a family of electrical engineers. This means by the age of 5, I experienced alternating current through my hands. Right? Today, there is still a family business called Oyserman Electrotechnical Services. They are a typical project contractor. They do the business of receiving requests for proposals, defining the right architecture, doing the right design, choosing the right components, awfully important, dealing with an increasing amount of requirements, constraints, environmental, technical. So it gets more and more complex to really come to the right solution. When they shape up their design and answer, they explore exclusively digital. And they expect from product manufacturers all relevant information they need to make their proposal solid and trustworthy. That's where you see the service and the product coming together. Increasingly, manufacturers invest in adding a lot of guidance on on how their product must apply to the products themselves. They also expect pricing, by the way. Just solid price. They don't want to wait weeks for a price and then even need to negotiate it. They want to get going with a price that they can put in their own proposal. What is most interesting is, from our family business perspective, how do we look at our wholesaler? We have a relationship with them for 20 years. We trust them. But they become increasingly for us a logistical service provider because they deliver a lot of added value when they bring all the materials which they have on stock, whatever they have on stock, bring it to the project site is an extremely added value for us. And next to that, it's the financial relationship that counts between us and the wholesaler. We trust each other. Payment terms-wise, they are sure we're going to pay, and we are sure that they're going to deliver to the project sites that we committed as a contractor. So there also you see a shift towards logistical services and even to financial services in a certain way. Again, when he's choosing, when that business decides to introduce components that are not on stock with his prime wholesaler, he wants to order directly and get it shipped to him so that he can fulfill his project and deliver as a contractor. And there you see, we see increasingly product manufacturers, not exclusively, but on top of or as extension of, or when convenience or there is a business need to go and deliver directly and even service directly. Then we come to the next part of the last part of this presentation. It's very price competitive, electrical engineering these days. It is price competitive. So we do compare all prices across all channels. And yes, we take it into account. It's not wholly, but we do. And even more important, we share all our experiences, all our insights of products and solutions, each and every community we can, even with our competition. We do, because we also get smarter and better from it. If you see this and you anticipate on it as a product manufacturer, you get way more touch points and interactions with your customers. And it means key activities, dealing with product information and product guidance, dealing with the fact that you also have order entry from end customers. You need to do delivery in a different way. You need to deal with feedback and communication with customers and communicates that are talking about your product. This is an animation. It's coming from B2C, and it shows a customer journey. It means in a world of today, how customers interact with us, and in their unique way, journey. They decide when to buy, they decide when they want to have service, they decide when they want to comment on it. And these are what we call all points of interaction. And that is a big challenge, or that is a big objective. If you want to go as a product vendor to more products as a service, these are typically also the challenges that you're facing. In conclusion, all those new business model patterns, they give us typically way more reach, but also way more and new touch points, interactions, engagements with new customers, or with customers, excuse me. This is a artwork. It's a piece of art, and it's called Outside In. That's why I took that picture. And you can see us, we as an organization, we are a piece of art. We are an artwork, and you see people are interested in us. They come and have a look at us. They explore us. They see and they engage with us in one porthole. And if they liked it, they will come back on another porthole. And when they engage with us, the experience is driven by the field of view of that porthole. They don't know all the internals and all the complexity, and they don't understand all our structures, but their experience is based on the field of view of the porthole. What is very different now than in the past is in the past there were way less portholes. And secondly, we could put a big number on the portholes and say, you start here, second, third. And all customers will be really just following the order we imposed, meaning we had control. Today, customers decide when they want to engage with us, in which porthole, and by the way, they talk with each other as well. And that is what is different today. This means that to deal with making our portholes effective and professionally, I personally believe we need to use empathy, because it's not that difficult, it's just an attitude. So if tomorrow we start with services on top of products, or we get with more product guidance, or we get to service customers, empathy, put yourself in being able to understand the position and the viewpoint of the other. It's something different than being subassertive, by the way. It's just understanding. To my opinion, that's the first thing that is key. And the second thing that is key is honesty. Because if customers really can choose a porthole to engage with us, in the end it will be honesty that will be rescuing us, and I know Kurt will be talking about that.